I envisioned you on the 8 Mile Road than B Rabbit with you and Eminem. So okay, that's
as
where
do most
people
listening to me on this
It gives
pod.
you street cred.
They're like, that guy with glasses on the Chris Simms pod. He's probably tough. He probably grew up in the streets.
Well, if they thought he grew up in the streets, they don't after that comment right there, because that doesn't sound like somebody that grew up in the streets. But this is Chris Simms Unbuttoned. What's up? It's I and Ahmed Fareed here to lead the charge once again. Did you like that? Is that proper English?
It is I.
It is I.
It doesn't matter sometimes.
I am him and he is he. And we are here to start the podcast.
Yeah.
Your street cred's going up, though.
You think?
I mean,
why?
You're on Kentucky Derby tracks.
Yeah.
You're, even though kind of running dorky, we're running around a baseball diamond.
Everyone saw that. So the craziest thing
But you got handshake down.
Yeah.
You do got
I did.
You
Yeah.
did. Today you came in, you gave me like the handshake, a little bit of the hug to go
dap
along
up,
with it.
yeah.
I mean, you're definitely smoother in that department.
You know what I need to get
coachable.
down? I need to get down the dap up
Right.
without the hug. Because I
Right.
kind of always go in for
You want to go for the
half
hug. That's kind of your finish thing, right?
But sometimes you just do the little dap.
Yeah,
and
you just
that's
got to
it.
do a
That's all you
little
need.
dap. Like some of the older school football players, they don't want the hug.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of feel that, right? Like my dad's era players, like, oh, we're hugging here. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we're hugging. Oh, that's how you guys do it this day. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to shake hands traditionally? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. You'll get it. You're getting there.
I slowly but surely. But
Yeah.
get this. So
What?
I was walking around Ridgefield, which is right close by, with my
Right,
wife.
right.
And I see Lee Diffie. Lee Diffie calls track and field for the Olympics,
Right.
IndyCar, all
Right.
that stuff. He's been here forever. And he goes, "Oh man, I saw you." I was like, "Is he running with the Bulls or is he out on the base paths?" I was like, "Oh, you saw that too?" He was like, "Yeah, I love the way you were running." I got so many texts about that. I feel like people just
Good.
are making fun of me,
Yeah.
but they still enjoyed the attempt at
I did enjoy
looking
it.
athletic.
I mean, enjoyed it. It was great form if you were like at a speed school, right? You're like perfect there. It's like, arms are at a perfect angle. You're upright.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to ask you to touch home plate, should be you should be made fun of for
It's
that.
a black eye. It's a black eye in that whole thing.
Like seriously, like what? How could you do that?
It was bad.
Okay.
It was bad. So let's never talk about it again.
Nah,
let's just
I
forget
don't know
that it ever
about that.
happened. So we're continuing
Yeah.
on this pod. This is, by the way, our last pod before a hiatus,
Wow.
before a break.
Right.
How do
we're
you
gonna
feel?
do one more that we're gonna put in the bank and I
Oh.
guess release next week.
Was
right?
I not supposed to say that?
Well, I don't know. We don't hide stuff like that here. What do we? We just say it how it is, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
you don't lie.
I'm ready for a hiatus. I'm not sad at all. I am not sad at all. I am like, so I cannot wait to check out a little bit.
Yes.
You know, it's just it's we talk about all the time. Being on is hard. It's stressful to be on, right? As you know, and I know you know. But to do it, most mornings at 7 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
It wears me out. And like I said the other day, just the homework on the weekends and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to just being able to enjoy time off without having to go, oh man, I need to watch these guys or this team or that player or this draft or whatever. So that's where I'm super excited.
At what point in the
Yeah.
hiatus will you feel like, all right, I'm ready to get back?
I'll probably drive my wife crazy somewhere in between week 2 and 3, where she'll be like, are you really going to have a drink every night?
Yeah.
Every night you're going to have a drink? Or, and she'll be like, oh, you need to go do something. You're going crazy here. So that'll happen. But I think like I get to that last week before we come back, I always feel like I get a little itchy. I'm like, all right, yep, it's time. It was a good
Training
break.
camps are just kind of getting going.
Right. There's some news starting to come out. I'm starting to talk to people around the league a little bit as they're starting to, check into training camp or, that's what I get. I get calls from guys. Oh yeah, I'm coming back home. I'm in the car. We're driving home. We got training camp tomorrow. You know what I mean? So that's where I catch up and it gets the blood flowing a little.
So don't take your break yet, because we got one more thing to do.
Yeah.
We have the AFC for the greatest 21st century players, non-quarterback edition. This both gave us a headache last time with the NFC. I did walk away. I was like, my brain was working too much thinking of all these players.
Definitely.
But I think the homies appreciated it. I appreciate it.
I hope so. It's a good
looking back.
conversation. It really is a great little drill to see, what teams have done in this century, and you get a kind of a feel where you look at some lists and you go, well, no wonder they've kind of been relevant for all 23 years.
Yes.
That makes sense. And then you're like, oh, well, no wonder that team's been to the playoffs once or none or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's where it is cool.
The Detroit Lions have Jason Hansen as one of their
That's
greatest
right,
players
right.
in the 21st century, and that makes a whole lot of sense. So in case you didn't watch or listen last time, no quarterbacks. Quarterbacks get all the glory, not here.
Not here.
We're excluding quarterbacks for this greatest of the 21st century, only counting players in the 21st century. And so one of the homies said, how would you leave off Mike Singletary? Wasn't in the 21st century.
How could we leave off Walter Payton? I don't know.
Of all the people to pick, he did pick Mike Singletary
right?
Outside of Walter Payton or Richard Dent, as you mentioned too. And so none of those players. I did see one homie, I think it was on YouTube, arguing that the 21st century technically starts in the year 2001.
Oh.
Like the year 2000
Here
should
we
not
go.
be considered.
Is that Florio? Like Florio's made this argument before, right? So there might not be no right. There's no right.
Yeah.
There's no right.
We're not doing
the year
that.
2000 does not count as in the 19s. It's the start of the new century.
Exactly.
Right.
Their
right.
argument is that we never did as year 0, so year 1 was the start of the new century. But like, screw that. We're way past year 1 now. We're reordering everything. Some of the reaction, real quick, before we get into the AFC. On the NFC, some legitimate names here that maybe we left off. Gino Red A99 says, "What about Sean Taylor?"
Yeah. I should have said his name because he did pop into my brain as we were doing Washington the other day. Mm-hmm. But we were on like hour and a half of the podcast, and we had hemmed and hawed about a bunch of other guys. And I think in my mind, Sean Taylor, we should have discussed him, said his name to bring him up. But I think in the long story short, it just was too short of a period of time to say he was a top player of the century. Yeah, it was quality. We know that. But, hey, there's some guys on that team, the guys that we picked, where you go, oh, they were also quality, and they were quality for more of an extended period of time than he was. Sean Taylor, I have no doubt, of course, if he doesn't die tragically, he would be on this list
100%.
and probably be in the Hall of Fame as well.
Yep.
But, yeah, that was definitely a tough one, and a good one by you, J. Gino Red A99,
Yeah, he was
get that to us.
Well on his way to
Have a
Pro
longer
Bowls.
handle next time.
I know. And the J. Gino Red A, it was like all works together. It does not work, actually. Ringo number 4 says, does Kyle Long deserve to be considered for the Bears?
Now, this is a good one that I will be totally transparent and say he did not cross my brain there, right? He did not. Kyle Long was damn good for sure. He 3 Pro Bowls, 7 seasons, right?
Yep.
But I think he's one where we should have brought him up. I don't know if he necessarily has what it takes to make the football team.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the prime lineman, to your point, which I thought was great, and it cleared my brain a little bit, is just like, okay, yeah, he could have been on that list, but the prime lineman for all the people eligible was Olin Kreutz. I think he's the guy that the longest, the highest level, and embodied, the DNA of the Bears. There was a period of time there in the 2000s when I thought of the Chicago Bears. Olin Kreutz was definitely one of the names that popped into my head for year after year after year, going, hey, he's a staple. He's one of their best players on their team. He sets the attitude for their offense, and I think that's why, hey, they had 5 good ones, but Kyle deserved to be talked about. I'm not sure he deserved to make it.
Yeah, also in the honorable mention for the Bears was Matt Forte, Julius Peppers, Khalil Mack. He's kind of in that group.
Yeah, I think so. Exactly right. That's where we should have put him. So good job by you at Ringo number 4. We should have brought him up. I did forget about him, but I don't think ultimately he would have made the list either way.
So let's start making decisions again.
Okay.
We narrow all these down to 5 players.
Yep.
Unless we can't do that, then we go 6. Unless it's the Seattle Seahawks, then we do 7. So at the end, we may get very tired. Yeah, maybe 4 too with some of these. So we'll start in the AFC West.
Yep.
I like that, Pete. Give some West Coast bias to the start of today's podcast, and I feel like this is going to be a difficult division just because the Chiefs are in this division. We'll get to them in a second.
The Chiefs is going to be hilarious.
The Chiefs is going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
We do start with the Denver Broncos,
right,
who have had a long history and maybe would have more difficult to do in the 20th century than the 21st century, but still many good players here in the 21st century.
Yeah.
And so let's get right into it. We'll take a look at the list of players that Pete and Gabby have compiled on a graphic here.
Way to go, Gabby.
She has been working
Gabby
very
is,
hard.
I mean, we only have 97 graphics for this podcast, so with 97 names on there.
I know. Yeah, she does not like Pete. She
No.
will enjoy the hiatus as well. But well done, Gabby, and getting all these names in here and the dates when they played for the team. So right off the bat, this is how we do it. Who are you putting in slam dunk?
Well, I think you're going to join in with me here. I mean, right off the bat, I think the three guys in yellow are in, right? I mean, the three guys in yellow are in. Von Miller, Champ Bailey, Chris Harris Jr. I don't think there's any debate there.
They're all in yellow because they were on an NFL all-decade team, either early in the 2000s or 2010 and on.
And Champ Bailey, again, he's Hall of Famer. Von Miller, Hall of Famer. Chris Harris Jr., maybe not Hall of Famer, probably not, but one of the premier nickel cover guys we had of the last decade. Mm-hmm. And, of course, huge part of why they won the Super Bowl and beat the Carolina Panthers in Super Bowl 50. So I think those three are pretty easy for me. Number 4 is pretty easy to me. I think it's Demaryius Thomas without question.
Agreed.
Right? I mean, you just talk about, first off, stats, longevity, and the importance of his role for that team. I mean, it was up there. And they went to 2 Super Bowls because of Demaryius Thomas and his ability to make big plays. So that's okay. We got 4. Now it gets a little tricky. I'm one to not go Rod Smith. Rod Smith, I know, had some years in the 2000s, but his prime years to me are still the end of the 90s.
Yes.
He doesn't embody like 21st century Broncos. The 2 names I jump to here are Elvis Dumervil, teammate of mine, smaller pass rusher guy, like one of these guys where you're like, how can he really get 17 sacks or 15 sacks a year?
5'11", 250.
Exactly right. I mean, you talk about like power packed in a small package right there. Or Ryan Clady. Ryan Clady, the tackle, was another ex-teammate of mine, and certainly one of the best tackles I ever played with. So it would be one of those 2 for my money. There's Al Wilson on there. Al Wilson was loved by the Broncos fan base and everything there, but I don't know. I don't think his quality of play was up there with Dumervil or Clady.
Aqib Talib?
Aqib Talib is interesting, right? Because it was only a 4-year stint in there, but it was like shut down island corner stints, right? Where you were like, well, no, Aqib Talib was one of the best corners in football. But the problem is he was a Buccaneer for a little while, a Patriot for a little while, a Ram for a little while.
Yeah.
I tend to want to go Elvis Dumervil.
So I do too. I think Elvis Dumervil is definitely in. So he was a 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. I think he's in.
I think so.
But
I know.
You can also make a case for Ryan Clady.
Yeah.
Who was a 2-time All-Pro himself.
Right. Yeah, he's a franchise left tackle. I mean, that's where it's tough. And, that's where I feel like the O-linemen kind of get screwed in these drills sometimes because when it's a tie, we go, let's go with the one with the sexier stats, right?
Now, Pete says one of Dumervil's All-Pros was with the Ravens.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
2 of his Pro Bowls, too.
Right, right. So that's where it's close. And then, Ryan Clady, he was Denver, right? And then went to the Jets for a few years at the end of his career.
1 year.
Just one? Okay, I thought maybe it was 2.
You know what?
You were changing your mind? You want to go back to Ryan? You feeling Clady here?
Let's do Ryan Clady.
Okay.
I think Ryan Clady. I think the fact that Dumervil, was
so a lot of the best
of
his years were in Baltimore. You're gonna,
he's not going in with Baltimore though, probably either.
No, I know that's where it's tough. It is tough, and where you look at it and you look at his stats and some of the things he did too, where you just go, it's he a lot of sacks. What was it, 63 sacks in Denver, something like that? It was more than DeMarcus Ware.
Yes.
Yeah.
We gave him his just
We
due.
gave him his love. We're going to go Ryan Clady.
We're going to be tough about this.
All right, cool.
We're going to make hard decisions early on.
Good.
And then
Way to go.
Easier as we go.
Welcome to the squad, Ryan Clady.
We got the 5 on there. So receiving yards.
And that's it good anyways, because Ryan Clady and I still keep in touch, and he might beat my ass if he knows I didn't throw him on here. So let's just
That's always something to consider, too.
Yeah.
For the Denver Broncos' most receiving yards in the 2000s, Demaryius Thomas far and away. He had 9,000. Rod Smith had 7,500 in the 2000s specifically.
Yeah, right.
And Demaryius had 60 touchdowns there, too. So he was awesome. He
was awesome.
He was the man.
He was. He could do everything. I mean, he was a guy that, could run routes and do that, but he was big, and he could be a playmaker and, catch a slant from Tim Tebow and run for a 60-yard touchdown, right? I mean, that's the kind of guy he was. Now, I will say this, too. Brandon Marshall was the start of his career, right? But, for the amount of time he was there, Whew, he was special during that period. I mean, he really was. He was, as we've talked about and waxed poetically about him before, I mean, he was the first of his kind in the NFL as far as that huge receiver where you were like, wait, he can run routes like this at that size and make people miss in space at that size and all that. It packed a lot of punch there for Brandon Marshall. It just wasn't a whole lot of years there, and not necessarily. What stinks about receiver too is your team and your quarterback and your offense. Of course, that's all very influential in what you do. And he was stuck on some not so good teams too.
So hard choices. The Denver Broncos. We got the 5 there.
Boom.
With Von Miller, Champ Bailey, Chris Harris Jr., Demaryius Thomas, and Ryan Clady. Moving on to the Chargers now. Maybe this will be a little bit easier. We also have 3 players who are on NFL all-decade teams.
Yes, sir.
Eric Weddle, Antonio Gates, and LaDainian Tomlinson. Now, we don't automatically have to put them in.
I think we do, though.
But here we do.
I do, right? I mean, I think these are no-brainers when it comes. I mean, LaDainian Tomlinson, 100%. We know, all-time great. Antonio Gates is one of the best tight ends in the history of football.
Yep.
You know, he had a PED suspension, which is really that has hurt his stock, I feel like, in the overall how we view him, right? But man, going to be a basketball player who turned tight end just, out of nowhere at the end of his college career and did what he did. And Weddle was a special safety. Mm-hmm. Now it gets, after those 3, which are slam dunks, this is where it gets interesting for the Chargers.
So what one? Keenan Allen.
I think that's where we go. I think we go there.
Needs to be in there.
Yeah, I think Keenan Allen he's the marquee wide receiver for their football team this century, right? I don't think there's any doubt about that. No disrespect to Vincent Jackson and Malcolm Floyd and some of these other guys who had great, little runs with the Chargers.
Yep.
But Keenan Allen's been a staple there, whether it was Phillip Rivers or now Justin Herbert. The ball goes to him. So I have no problem with Keenan Allen. I think he is on the list for sure.
5-time Pro Bowler, was a comeback player of the year, was a rookie of the year when he first started out. Yeah, Keenan Allen is in. Junior Seau now played most of his career in the 90s.
I know. So that's where, we know who he's an all-time great. He's a legend, right? But I look at him as a 90s.
He's a Hall of Famer, but
right. He's a 90s player here. We're not going to, just because of those 3 years, which weren't even necessarily his best years of his career.
Yeah, they were Pro Bowl years, and then he played in Miami after that and New England.
Yeah,
so what
New
a long
England.
career
I know.
for Junior Seau.
Unbelievable.
But, he is off the list. Now, Sean Merriman.
Yeah, Merriman is like awesome first 2 or 3 years, if I remember. But then that was it.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Defensive Player of the Year, his first year.
Right.
And then finished 3rd, and then was a second-team All-Pro the 3rd year. And then after that, he was hurt. And then, he really never got
really
back to what he
regained
was.
the form, right? Never. I mean, it was a wham bam, thank you ma'am type of career for him. So that's where I don't think he makes the cut. Joey Bosa's interesting, right? Because there's a very good chance, like 2-3 years from now, we certainly are like, oh, well, definitely Joey Bosa's on there, right? And of course, he's done some really damn good things here in his career. He's been injured. It's been a short period of time. So where I struggle here, this is where I'm down to, Ahmed, is Sean Phillips, one of the other pass rushers on the edge that was opposite of Sean Merriman towards the end of his career, and was outside linebacker, defense end, who was a really, really good football player. To me, it would be between him and Bosa as far as where I would go for that 5th guy.
So Bosa's already been, I think, a 4-time Pro Bowler.
Right.
Phillips was only a 1-time Pro Bowler, but you think he was overlooked.
He was just overlooked. They were some good football teams he was a part of. And as we know, first off, Pro Bowl is a little wishy-washy.
It is, yes.
And it's a little too predicated on the sack number all the time, right? To where, he wasn't a 15 sack a year type of guy. He was your 7 to 10 sacks, but awesome all-around football player. So that's where I struggle. I don't. This is the typical case of, do we want to go quantity or quality? Right, Bosa is definitely a little more quality, but it's a limited number of years.
So total
but
sacks.
I would also could say it's still gonna, after this year we might be going, well, it should have been Bosa. It's a slam dunk.
So total sacks. It's Phillips who has more sacks in the 2000s at 69.5. Bosa, though, not far behind with 60.5. Does have the Defensive Player of the Year award and has that higher ceiling. I think it's Joey Bosa.
That's it. Good. Way to go. That cleared it up. Sometimes you just gotta hear people say things, and then I heard it come out of your mouth, and I was like, duh, yeah, it's Bosa. You're right. So there clears it up right there. Sean Phillips, legend of the Chargers. Junior Seau, legend of football, period. Sean Merriman, legend of the Chargers, but they don't make the list. Sorry.
Yeah, Seau, 3 seasons in San Diego, 3 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro, so still was very good, but just didn't play enough in the 2000s. And as far as the receiver numbers, Gates was over 11,000 yards and 116 touchdowns.
It's insane.
In the 2000s.
It's insane. He was the first tight end that rivaled Tony Gonzalez on a yearly basis, where we were like, whoa, wait, Tony Gonzalez isn't going to lead the NFL in receiving at tight end? Oh, wait, there's somebody else here that's challenging him with touch. So that's he was phenomenal. Route runner, right? Had a great feel for the game, great athlete. And I really like Antonio Gates. Been friends with him for a while.
Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, Melvin Ingram, also names in there. Casey
Legends.
Hayward,
right.
Defensive back, but just outside the top 5.
Yeah, I think so. I think we got that one right there. I feel good about that.
All right, so you mentioned Tony Gonzalez. He is one of many who will be considered here for the Kansas City Chiefs. We have had 5 in our first 2 groups. We are not going to have 5 in this group. Because there are already 6 players who made NFL all-decade teams with the Kansas City Chiefs. Gabby had to work overtime on this one. Tony Gonzalez, Travis Kelce, guard Will Shields, safety Eric Berry, and tackle Willie Rofe. Now, not pictured here is a kick returner, punt returner in Dante Hall. So, of all those names... Oh, there it is.
Yep, he's there.
Updating in real time.
Boom.
Good job, Gabby. So, of those 6 names, I mean,
holy
because
crap.
there are other names here that I feel like have to be considered.
Okay. All right. This is going to be maybe the hardest. This is like this. It's funny. It rivals the Eagles.
So the 2 tight ends, Gonzalez and
slam dunk, right?
Slam dunk. Travis Kelce are in.
Let's just go slam dunks like we do first always. Okay. Gonzalez, Kelce in slam dunk. Chris Jones, slam dunk for me. Chris Jones, I don't care if he decides to lay down and go to sleep for the rest of his career on the field. He's arguably the best defensive player in the history of the Kansas City Chiefs, right up there with Derek Thomas, the great pass rusher of the 80s and 90s.
So we have 2 offensive linemen who are Hall of Famers, in Willie Rofe and Will Shields. Now Willie Rofe, mostly in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Now, wait, did we put Willie Rofe with the Saints?
I think we talked about it. I think we did put him on there.
Did we put him in there?
I think we did. I'm pretty sure. I know we talked about it in depth, right? They had a few. I don't think we did pick him, though. We talked about him. No, I don't think we did.
We should have. He...
Yeah, I know.
He needs to be on one of these teams.
So maybe we got to go back and add him to the Saints. This is
Pete, can we do that? Can we go back and put him because if we're gonna put him on either team, it was 9 years in New Orleans. It was just 4 years in Kansas City. The 4 years in Kansas City were very good.
Yeah,
couple first team All Pro.
Right,
but the years in New Orleans were really good too.
Really good too. I know.
Pete, can we go put him on New Orleans? Let's put him on New Orleans.
I love it. I love seeing Ahmed like this. This is awesome.
Do you agree with that though?
I do. Yeah. Well, I think what hurt him in our eyes when we were doing the New Orleans one. We put another lineman on New Orleans, right?
Oh, that's right. He's a 90s guy. Oh, that's right. You're right. He's a 70s baby. You're right. Most of those years in New Orleans.
So we got it right. We were right. Don't second guess yourself.
So now do we have to put him on the Chiefs team?
We don't.
He's a 90s. He's a 90s guy.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's what sucks for some of these guys that had the majority of their years in the 90s. They don't make it. We know you're awesome. We get it, but you don't make the 2000 team just because you had two years in the in the decade or the century.
It was really good. But
all right. Yeah, I know it was.
Okay.
I know.
Will Shields, the other lineman.
I know. Will Shields. Yeah. Again, it's a little bit. It's
from 93 to 2006.
I know, but it's still a lot of good years in 2000 to 2006, right? That's where it's going to be tough.
Yes.
Brian Waters, was one of the best guards in football there for a while.
So basically from the year 2000 on, he was all Pro Bowl in every one of those years, and all but 2 of those years he was first or second team All Pro.
Woo.
So Will Shields is in.
I think so. Will Shields is in. Will Shields is, he was one of the greatest guards I ever saw. right? So I think that's fair for sure. So now we have Gonzalez, Kelsey, Shields, and Chris Jones. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The running backs are insane.
Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, and Jamal Charles, all careers spanning with the Chiefs in the 2000s.
All right, so I'm going to go right off the bat and cancel Larry Johnson off, even though it was great. All right? But there was some crossover there where he was not the main man and Priest Holmes was, right? And he was the backup, even though he was really good.
Even though Jamal Charles, having said that,
Jamal
little
Charles
crossover
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a little crossover, but only for like a year.
So 7,200 yards in the 2000s for Jamal Charles. Priest Holmes had 6,000, and Johnson had 6,000.
It's the touchdowns for Holmes are what's special, right? Remember, he was the receiving and rushing touchdowns were amazing.
83 total compared to just 64 for Jamal Charles.
But Jamal Charles is one of, 3 or 4 running backs in the history of football to average over 5 yards per carry, right? And that's where I lean him. I lean him there a little bit in that department. I love Priest Holmes. He was amazing. I can't even believe we're going to leave him off of this. But if I was going to pick a running back, I'd pick a Jamal Charles.
Agreed. I agree with that.
So as of right now, that would be the 5th guy?
So that would be no. Well,
that would be the 5th guy.
Have we decided on Eric Berry?
I'm going to say no to that.
You're saying no to Eric Berry?
As good as Eric Berry was, it was good, yes. You know, there's a few years there where he's dealing with his health issues and cancer.
That's true. It was 3 or 4 years where he had 15 games.
Yeah.
No, 5 years.
Okay. All right.
But you're right. 4 of his seasons basically were marred by injury.
That's what would hurt me. And I can't say that he and his importance to the team was as great as Tyreek Hill's.
Yeah.
I feel like Tyreek Hill's got to be on this list. Tyreek Hill was in Kansas City for 6 years, and for 4 of them, he was maybe the best receiver in football.
Yes.
I mean, 5 out of the 6, he was the most dangerous weapon in football. So that's where I feel like we gotta put him on there too. And I can't believe, I mean, it's, again, Derek Johnson, I mean, my ex-Texas teammate in college, he's the best middle linebacker maybe in franchise history. He had a great career. Right? Not a ton of Pro Bowls. He's like one of those guys that would be high in Pro Bowl voting but never get in. And then there's Justin Houston, where, I mean, the freaking dude had 22 sacks one year in the NFL for the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's where I guess where I would be a little torn is the Justin Houston, maybe the Tyreek Hill conversation.
So
there.
Justin Houston did have that one awesome year.
Yeah, the 22 sacks.
2014, 22 sacks, first team All-Pro, of course. But after that, he played a lot, but only had one other season where he was over double-digit sacks.
Okay, that's...
Tamba Ali had more.
Tamba Ali.
89.5 in the 2000s to Justin Houston's 78.5.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought that, just saying that out loud, that Tamba Ali had more than... I thought he'd be in the same neighborhood. Tamba Ali from Teaneck, New Jersey. Baller there. I think I would be totally happy with the 6 we got. Jamal Charles, Tyreek Hill, Tony Gonzalez, Travis Kelce, Will Shields, and Chris Jones.
Yep.
I think, to me, they stand above the rest. And that's no disrespect to Derek Johnson, Justin Houston, or Tamba Ali. Can you get behind that?
And Dante Hall, the kick returner, punt returner, no.
Yeah, he was awesome, but yeah.
Tyreek Hill actually was on an all-decade team as a returner.
As a returner, too. Yeah, right. So
I'm good with that.
You're good with that?
I think that's good.
You sure?
The fact that we got that down to 6,
I think is impressive, right? So there goes 6, right? It's funny that the Eagles were the other team in the NFC,
right,
that were involved in this. It's just, it tells you. And then the Chiefs, I mean, gosh, they were just, for this century, man, they've been relevant a lot when you really think about it and break it down. Even those mid-2000s and stuff, they were competitive and,
yes,
in the conversation.
They're doing something right.
They are.
In Kansas City and Philadelphia. All right, 6 for the Chiefs. We move on. One final team out west. That is the
Raiders.
Oakland, L.A., Vegas Raiders. I don't think they were not in. Well, they were probably in. Well, they were in L.A. in the beginning of the 2000s, right?
I don't know. They were not.
They were not?
No, that was the 90s. Right. You're off on your – look, you're getting old now. You can't even remember what decades are.
I was like, I was young. And it's like, yeah, you were young in the 90s. Okay, oops, sorry.
Yeah, you were.
All right, so for the Raiders, they do have 3 guys who are on the all-decade team. Oh, Pete is excited here because we may get our first punter into the mix. Shane Leckler from 2000 to 2012.
Definite.
Definite.
For what we're seeing with this team and this list here, right? Shane Leckler and Sebastian Janikowski are definites. I think.
I think you're right.
I mean, Sebastian Janikowski he was the first kicker of the century. We were like, they've crossed midfield. They're in the range. They're at the other team's 49. They have a chance now. I mean, come on.
So here's the interesting thing with Sebastian Janikowski.
Yeah.
So 17 years in Oakland.
Right. He's got a lot of misses.
He was a Pro Bowler one time.
Yeah.
Never made first team All-Pro.
He got screwed over though. This is where context matters a little.
Okay.
He got screwed over because how many times did you watch them go, well, let's try the 67-yarder. He might be able to hit it, right?
And his percentage was down.
They asked him to do like crazy crap a lot. I feel like there was a handful of field goals every year where they were like, it's the end of the half. Let's see if he can make it from 68. It's the end of the half. Let's see if he can make it from 64. Hey, it was always that. So that's where I feel like it hurts him a little bit.
Yeah. And he was there with Vinatieri at the time, and who else was winning all the awards?
Yeah.
Gostkowski.
They were killers, right? They were assassins. All right, so Janikowski, we don't have to say yes yet, but I made my case for it.
Put a pin
in that.
All right, how about Charles Woodson?
I would say yes.
So we put Charles Woodson on the Packers team, right?
Damn.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
We can do that.
We can do that.
Now he spent, was he? I'm looking at, he was
I
7
think he
years
was
in Green
probably
Bay.
He
won.
Yeah.
So here's the numbers, and then you can react.
Cool.
He was Defensive Player of the Year in both places.
Right.
Oh, that's right. Defensive Rookie of the Year, his first year in Oakland. He was Defensive Player of the Year in Green Bay. He was his only first-team All-Pro was in Oakland. No, right, Pete? No. First-team All-Pro, Oakland, 1999. AP1. Oh, that doesn't count. Gosh.
I was wondering why you were so worried about the 90s accolades. I was like, it doesn't count here, Ahmed.
You're right.
Right?
So he's not in, I don't think. I think we got the perfect spot. I think we got the right spot for him. He had his best 2000s years with the Packers.
Yeah. I don't his best years were with the Packers. What killed him with the Raiders, is he had that toe injury that bothered him for about 2 years in 2002 or 3, right in that range.
2002 he played 8 games.
Yeah, right. So that was like he was like the, island corner, and everybody was excited about him, and he had that little injury and it derailed him a little bit. All right. So, okay.
So he's out.
We're going to say he's out.
He's in with the Packers.
Yep. But then Nnamdi Asomugha is in. Nnamdi Asomugha's run with the Raiders. I mean, this is my career. We were drafted the same year, and his career was my career, 2003 to 2010. I know he went to the Eagles after that, but I can just speak to experience of playing the Raiders during that time period when he was there. He was the best corner in football. Like, maybe Darrelle Revis towards the end there started to supplant him, but in 2008, played him, and we literally said before the week, Josh McDaniels said, we're not throwing there. Don't even worry about it. We're just, if that's Nnamdi over there, we're going over here. Don't even try it, right? So that's what he got to. So that for me classifies you in the all-century team.
He's in.
Right.
Khalil Mack, edge guy, is in the all-decade team. I mean, we're talking 2014 to 2017, so only 4 years.
I know. The Raiders are hard. That's where I say we got to go back to Janikowski and put him in, right? Because there's not a lot here.
I think you're right. So we got Leckler, Janikowski, Asomugha, Khalil Mack, and then we've got Lincoln Kennedy on the offensive line tackle and Rodney Hudson center. So Hudson, 3 Pro Bowls, Kennedy, 3 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro in the 2000s in just 4 seasons for Lincoln Kennedy.
I know. This is one of the hardest ones. It might be just 4.
Do you think though that Rodney Hudson has been kind of a staple of the Raiders here and what they've been able to do offensively?
Yeah.
Only 6 seasons.
He was really good, and he was vital in the John Gruden part of turning things around there with the Raiders. And he was definitely in the combo, to your point, for best center in football, in that first few years with the Raiders, last, year or two with the Chiefs before he made that move. Lincoln, I mean, that's where it's like Lincoln Kennedy. Yeah, I'd love to throw him on there. It's just the 4 years.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
I know. And what always gets me with some of these guys is just like, Lincoln Kennedy, obviously baller. But two, when you sometimes go, Pro Bowl this year, Pro Bowl that year, I want to go, well, something, and this is not necessarily to him always, but some of these guys I'm going to go, well, yeah, just the Pro Bowl. I had teammates where we were like, he's not the best linebacker on our team, and he's going to the Pro Bowl because he had already been going there, right?
Right.
And he just became a household name, so people vote on you, right? So that's where it's like that accolade can sometimes confuse this conversation. And I don't know where to go there, Ahmed. Like Khalil Mack, are we putting him on? We're not putting him on, right?
I think we have.
You think we have to?
We can't have a kicker, a punter, and a corner, and that's it for the Raiders.
What were Khalil Mack's stats those 4 years? Can you read those to me? You got those next to you? I'm leaning Rodney Hudson, Nande Asamoah, the kicker, the punter, and then if you can sell me on Khalil Mack. I will say Khalil Mack, he was the start of like, the Raiders, they got the attitude back and a little culture, and he was the first difference maker.
So he was first-team All-Pro in 2015.
Right.
First-team All-Pro and Defensive Player of the Year in 2016.
Yeah.
Pro Bowler in 2017. I think he's in.
All right, let's put him in.
4 seasons, but he's in.
Yep.
And so that would be. And then are we putting in Rodney Hudson?
I was thinking so.
Here's
Just
the funny
because, like,
thing.
if we did a '90s thing, Lincoln Kennedy gets in that for sure.
Agreed.
The only thing I'll question here.
Yeah.
All right. Now, for the sake of this, before we move on to the next team, is that if Khalil Mack is on, what are his 4 years compared to Max Crosby right now? Right. That's what I would want to know too, because Max Crosby he's been pretty damn good here, and he's up there as far as I would think in the same department as sacks with Khalil Mack in that 4-year period.
37.5 sacks.
Okay.
For Max Crosby.
Right. 37.5 for Max Crosby.
Okay. Oops.
It's amazing, the Raiders. I just, for some reason in my mind, thought there was a few more studs or
I know.
People like that. But I guess
Khalil Mack had 40.5.
40.5. Okay.
This is what I'm worried about, too, is that the guy who would win this is Charles Woodson, and we're leaving him off. Like, I feel like Raiders fans, out of these names provided, would probably vote for Charles Woodson as their best of the 21st century non-quarterbacks.
They were good. He's a star. They went to the Super Bowl with him there. I know. I know. It's okay. We got C-Dub on the Packers, and I don't think there's any doubt about that. So we're okay here.
Good call.
Yeah.
All right. So we're done.
Yeah.
We're done there. We got the Raiders. This is hard. I feel like it's harder this time. What's going on? Are we being tougher in our grading?
The AFC West it's been relevant. I think that's the problem. When you just talk about the Chiefs and the Broncos, for sure, those are two teams that have, other than the Broncos just the last few years, for the better part, we're in the mix of things a lot.
We move on to an easy one.
Yeah.
Our AFC South first team is the Houston Texans, J.J. Watt, and that's it. All right, we're moving on to the Colts now.
This is an easy one. J.J. Watt for sure, right? Andre Johnson for sure. DeAndre Hopkins, I'm going to say for sure.
I agree.
Dwayne Brown, I'm going to say for sure.
Yep.
And I'm going to say Arian Foster for sure.
Okay, hold on.
That's 5, right?
So we got 4 until Arian Foster. I'm going to pump the brakes on Foster here. We got too aggressive there for a second. We got excited because we got some other good names here. We've got Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah, right.
We got a couple linebackers here.
I know.
D'Amico Ryans.
D'Amico would certainly be
now leading the
thought
charge.
About.
And Brian Cushing.
Yeah. I don't think they're to the quality of the other guys we're talking about there. You know, I mad respect for Brian Cushion, a fellow Jersey guy, played against my brother in high school. D'Amico Ryans was damn good, but like Watt, there was a 4-year period where it was like he was the best defensive player in football. Andre Johnson is a Hall of Famer in my opinion. His stats justify it. He wasn't even on a ton of great teams. If he was on some great teams with a better quarterback, I think we'd all go, oh my gosh, no doubt about it. All right. Dwayne Brown's a Hall of Fame tackle. So that's where I look at that. Hopkins really awesome and was huge part of their team. And then Arian Foster, I mean, I know it's only what a 7-year career, but he led the NFL in rushing twice, right? Something in that range, definitely once, but was in the top 2 or 3 like a number of times too.
Yeah, led in touchdowns 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it was over 100 yards per game in 2010. I'm good with that.
You're good with that?
I'm good with Arian Foster.
I think we got the 5.
I think that's good.
I think this is pretty slam dunk with this one right here.
Arian Foster, Andre Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, Dwayne Brown, and J.J. Watt.
Yep.
Other names to be considered: Chris Myers at center, Owen Daniels at tight end, Mario Williams, defensive end, Jadeveon Clowney, Jonathan Joseph.
DeMario Williams was better than people realize. Jadeveon Clowney was much better than people realize. If there was 2 that I feel bad about that we're leaving off, it would be Clowney and Jonathan Joseph, who had a great career playing corner in the NFL, but you know, out of South Carolina. I mean, he was a player, but just not a star, not a household name, and that's a little bit because of the team, but I think we got the 5 right.
All right, we got the 5 for your Houston Texans. Moving on to the Indianapolis Colts. Some other really good skill position players here, so let's just talk about them right off the bat. I think we're putting in another kicker in Adam Vinatieri.
It seems like that, but it'll be tough here.
Okay, so hold off on that. Don't bold them quite yet.
Don't bold them yet, but just because, like, let's go with the ones that we know are slam dunks.
Edgerrin James seems like a slam dunk.
Right. You don't have to say seems. He is.
Marvin Harrison is a slam dunk.
Right. Reggie Wayne
is a
slam dunk.
So Reggie Wayne, so the receiving yards, Reggie Wayne had 14,000 yards in the 2000s. Harrison had the 10,000, but he did have 95 touchdowns, did Harrison, where Reggie Wayne had 82. So, but I agree. Both of those guys seem like they were the Colts in the 2000s.
Exactly.
Jeff Saturday? I feel like
I mean, Jeff Saturday is worthy of it, but is he?
The coaching is really taking it down. Now we don't see him in the same light.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so wait. We said those 3 are slam dunks. Dwight Freeney's a slam dunk. So let's just get the 4th one on there.
Dwight Freeney is a slam dunk.
Right. And then Robert Mathis, to me, is also kind of a slam dunk.
Oh, no.
I know. So that's where I want to go. Like, I like Jeff Saturday, but I don't think he's in the class of those 5 guys we just said. The question to me here is now Adam Vinatieri. Bob Sanders, amazing, but it was a short run and a lot of injuries. Quentin Nelson, he should be in the running, but I don't think I'm going to put him above these other guys. Yeah, he hasn't played his best football, Quentin Nelson, the last year or 2. So that's where I tend to think Edgerrin, Marvin, Reggie, Dwight Freeney. I say Robert Mathis, but I could certainly say if you want to go Vinatieri instead of Robert Mathis, I'm down for that too.
So Mathis had 15 more sacks than Dwight Freeney.
Yeah,
even.
He played 4 more years, right?
I think Mathis has to go in.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think Mathis has to go in.
That's where sacks can be like so, a little bit. The longevity helped. Like Robert Mathis was a really good player. I'm not, but like when we played the Colts in the mid 2000s, we were all, oh damn, Dwight Freeney. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Whether I was on the Titans or the Bucks, we were like, it's Dwight Freeney. What are we gonna do? 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 It's Dwight Freeney. What are we gonna do? Who's gonna help? Who's gonna chip? We gotta slide the line that way. Right, so that's where Mathis has more sacks, but wasn't Dwight Freeney.
And Adam Vinatieri over Jeff Saturday, you think?
I think so. I think it's all Pete's saying it right in my ear right now. He's going, it's arguably the greatest kicker of all time. Agreed with that, and just the clutch as hell. I mean, just other than his last year of his career, I don't remember the guy ever missing a damn field goal. So
So Vinatieri is in, Robert Mathis, Dwight Freeney.
We got 6.
Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, and Edgerrin James. We do have 6.
Yeah, we got a 6er here.
That's
but
a 6er.
I think it's justified.
It's a 6er.
Again,
The
it's
Colts have a
another
6er.
team that's been pretty relevant for 20 years for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton also in consideration. Joseph Adai. I liked watching him
Oh,
play.
man.
Dallas Clark, one of the better tight ends
Definitely.
of the 2000s.
Tarek Glenn was a staple for protecting Manning. I mean, they've had some players there for sure. It's
Antoine
why they've been
Bethea.
successful. You can see it.
Antoine Bethea was 7'5", Hampton Roads kind of guy.
Yeah.
Vontae Davis there. But we got our 6 for the Indianapolis Colts. We'll try to do 5 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Only one player was all-decade team worthy, and that was Calais Campbell.
Yep.
But only 3 seasons.
Damn,
with
it
the
was only
Jaguars.
3 seasons. Wow.
They were good years, though.
They were. I mean, that was when they were whooping ass on defense. And, of course, he was a part of that team that almost beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game.
He did make the Cardinals team, though, so I think that's where he belongs.
Probably. I agree there.
So we'll leave him off the – although, will we have enough to put on the Jaguars
Well,
team?
this is where it'll be interesting with them, right? I mean, first off, Fred Taylor, yes, right? I'm going to say bam right away.
And Maurice Jones-Drew, I would
think
say,
so, too. I agree with you. I think both running backs are – key, vital parts of their organization. We got Jimmy Smith next on the list, where it was good.
95 to
but
2005.
I tend to think a lot of his good work was in the late 90s. I know early 2000s it was still good. Yeah. Now.
Yeah, I would leave Jimmy
You
Smith off because
you
I think
leave-
he's more late
More
90s, and those
90s.
were his best years.
Yep. Okay. So we got Taylor, Jones, Drew. I'm going to say
So we got a couple defensive tackles here in Marcus Stroud and John Henderson.
John Henderson for sure. Right? Stroud was really good. Henderson, I think, was the better player.
2-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah. Got slapped in the face all the time.
What?
Remember he was the guy that the trainer used to slap in the face before they go out for the game?
he was that guy.
That was John Henderson.
Yeah.
They were arguably my first experience of being scared in the NFL.
Really?
Oh, without a doubt. It was one of the first times, where college football, I don't know if I ever had a game where I went and, walked to the line of scrimmage and I was like, oh, this is scary. You need to play some people, and I had some nerves. When we played Jacksonville and I saw those two guys and I broke the huddle, I was always like, man, there's no way we can block those guys. There's no way. And then they were gigantic, and they were gigantic to where it was like even if they didn't get pressure, they were both 6'7". You were going, I can't see anything. So they don't even have to get pressure. I can't see.
John Henderson, 6'7", 335.
Gigantic. And what was Stroud? If you it's 6'6" and a half, 325. I mean, it was
6'6", 310.
Yeah. I mean, they were giants. They really were.
Of those two, who would you put in?
I would put Henderson in.
Okay.
Yeah, Henderson was a little more of the handful there. The bigger guy and maybe a hair more athletic too. So we got 3 as of it stands right now. Then this is where I don't know where to go after this with the Jaguars.
Got a couple corners.
Yeah.
Rashawn Mathis and Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. Rasheen Mathis, I think, should be on.
Rashean.
Yeah. Rasheen Mathis, my draft class. I'm trying to think. Where'd he go to school, Pete? Is that Central Florida that he got drafted out of? I can't remember.
Bethune-Cookman.
Bethune-Cookman, that's what it was. He was on my Senior Bowl team. Damn, that's where I knew. Okay, but I think Rasheen Mathis deserves to be in.
One-time All-Pro player.
Hey, those were some good defenses there. The Jack Del Rio, those Byron Leftwich, the other quarterback, I'm blanking on his name, David Garrard, right? Those teams, and they were defensive oriented. So I tend to go Rasheen Mathis, even though I know he's not a household name. Over what?
Over Jalen Ramsey, if we were to pit just one corner in here.
Well, Jalen Ramsey's quality was better. I mean, Jalen Ramsey went through 4 years there of, is he the best corner in football, right? I'd have no problem throwing Jalen Ramsey on there.
Putting them both in there.
I think you could put both of them. I think we could do that and say, see you later, there's our 5, and we're done.
Another name, Paul
Posluszny. Yeah. Really good. I don't know if I just quite would put him in the category of the 2 corners we just put. So we're giving Jalen Ramsey something that we haven't done a lot, where we're going, the quality was so quality that it overrides the fact that we'd like a little more quantity.
Yes, which we wouldn't have done if you played for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sorry. Jalen Ramsey,
probably
the good fortune
not.
of yes.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
It hurts a guy like him, the fact that he's moved around and split up a little bit his career, where he had some great years with the Rams as well. But I think we got the 5. I feel real good about that 5, and I'm glad we got Mathis in there. I think he deserves to be.
Okay. Pete, are you surfacing the John Henderson clip? Oh, here it is.
Oh, there it is.
John Henderson, 6'7", 335, getting slapped by another man.
Right. So can you imagine dropping back with this fucking dude running at you? Right. I mean, he's psycho, and like we got to show it again. Let it restart one more time here, because it's not like he was like, oh, pull your slap on me here or try to make it like movie like. I mean, he's like, that's not hard enough. Do it again. Right.
Who do you think? That's a trainer, right?
A trainer
just like,
who's like, gosh, I want to find the sweet spot of pissing him off, but not piss him off so much that he looks at me and wants to beat my ass and throw me in the tub.
Isn't the Dr. Creed is like do no harm or something like that? He's just like a man's asking to slap him in the face.
Oh man. Okay. They were scary, those dudes right there.
We got the Jaguars, and now one more team in the South, the Tennessee Titans.
I feel good about this one too. I think we can knock this out fairly.
Okay, go.
You want to hear my 2 cents?
Let's hear it.
Right. 2 running backs make the list right away. Chris Johnson, I'm going to say CJ2K, and Derrick Henry. Without a doubt, I'm going in right away.
Eddie George was a little late 90s.
Late. Prime Eddie was kind of on the way out. Agreed. But it's still good, right? Like, tell me his stats, if you don't mind, in the early 2000s. And oh, you got him right here.
Yeah.
You the man, Pete.
He already did it. 4,600 rush yards for George. CJ2K had almost 8,000, and then Derrick Henry is already over 8,000.
George is the 90s team. He's the 90s guy.
Yep.
Right?
I'm good with that. Chris Johnson, Derrick Henry in. Delaney Walker was a tight end.
Yeah, really good player. There's Kevin Mawai, the best center I ever played with, but it's only 4 years. He's a Hall of Famer, Kevin Mawai. But he was on the Jets before that, where he had a number of good years. Here's just 2 quick thoughts from me. I think Keith Bullock needs to be on it. Keith Bullock, and why those teams were good in the 2010s. He was the general of their defense. He was a really, really damn good middle linebacker.
Syracuse guy.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. Bullock was the leader of the team too. I can speak to that as him being on that team 2 out of 3 or 2 years.
Sure.
Why he was the man there. So, yeah, I feel like he does. And let me just say this on another personal level. Albert Hainsworth. Albert Hainsworth was, from 2003 to 2008, maybe the best D tackle in football. He was unstoppable. He was unblockable, right? His sacks aren't going to, it's not going to wow you in the sack department. But, it's tackles for a loss. It's just blowing up plays, up plays like we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
That's where he was really, really special.
And then he got like a $100 million contract from Washington and was not very good.
Yeah, it kind of said see you later, right? Which is what Tennessee was scared about. I remember coaches at the time asking my opinion. Because, Albert and I had a good relationship. We went on our recruiting visit to the University of Tennessee together. And when I got there, I mean, you know me. I talked to everybody. Whether you like it or not, you had to deal with me. So, I'd go sit with the D tackles, and me and him were buddies, right? And they, I think they knew that we were close enough, and they kind of picked my brain. Like, do you think he'll chalk it up once we pay him? And I was one that was going, no, I think he legitimately loves the game. I mean, the way he talks about it with me and, but I did go, yeah, I see that he doesn't work in the weight room or do that. I was aware of that, but it didn't work out, but he was awesome.
Yes.
So that's where I tend to want to go, him and Jeffrey Simmons. Excuse me, Jarrell Casey, I was going to say. Jarrell Casey.
Oh.
That's where I was going to go.
Because Jeffrey Simmons has not been enough.
Enough yet, yes. Right. Jeffrey Simmons looks like he's on, if we do this 5 years from now, he'll probably be on the team. Jarrell Casey, could you create Casey?
He had 51 sacks in the 2000s. That was more than Albert Hainsworth is second there with 24.
I know. Yeah,
he was more of a
big guy, nose tackle-ish, a little bit of a hybrid. He could do both almost, right?
I'm good with Jarrell Casey. Now, what Javon Curse?
I know. Curse, I think, really though, he had that awesome rookie year. and the other years were good, but I don't know if they were as dominant as some of the
Yeah.
guys we're talking about right here.
And Javon Curse's best years, Pete notes, came in 1999, 14.5 sacks, all-pro.
Oh, yeah.
Defensive
rookie
of the
year
year.
just jumped on the scene. Like the first freak of freaks, really, Javon Curse.
All right, so I
Javon Curse.
think we have our 5.
I think so.
Jarrell Casey, Keith Bullock, Albert Hainsworth, Derrick Henry, and Chris Johnson, crossing out Delaney Walker, crossing out Kevin Mawai, who I think we will probably put on.
I think so.
The Jets.
With the Jets, hopefully. I know that's one where I want to get back to the Jets and be like, well, okay, wait, we didn't put them on the Jets. We got to go back and put them on the Titans.
Right, which we can do.
Yeah.
It's our podcast.
So we got 5, right? Though
we got
We're
5.
good.
That's
All right,
5.
cool.
All right, moving on now to the AFC North. We'll start with the Baltimore Ravens. And many players here that were on all-decade teams.
No wonder they've been another team. It's like, no wonder they've been good for the last 2 decades.
All right, can I try first here?
Oh, yeah, do it. You know some of them. Let's go.
All right, let's go Ray Lewis.
Oh, yes.
Let's go Ed Reed.
Yes. Only the 2 best at their position ever.
I feel like we have to do Justin Tucker if we're going to do Adam Vinatieri.
Agreed.
Right?
Right.
Okay. So there's 3 right off the bat.
There's 3 right off the bat.
Also on the all-decade team, Marshall Yanda.
Yonda.
Yeah. How could I do that? Jonathan Ogden and Jamal Lewis. So Ogden's the only one that played in the 90s.
Yeah.
Late 90s, but did have 8 years in 3 All-Pros in those 8 years, 7 Pro Bowls.
Whew.
So Ogden's probably got to be in.
I would think so. Ogden's one of the greatest tackles in the history of football, right? Ogden's the ultimate, like, is he going to fit in the door? Like, seriously. I mean, Jonathan Ogden is enormous. I like
6'9", 345. He would look at Henderson, just be like, why are you so small?
I'm telling you. And it's like, with a guy like him, it's like, yeah, he's watching what he's eating to be 350, right? It really is. So, all right, Reed, Ray, Tucker, Ogden, and now to me, it's between Yonda and T. Sizzle, right? Suggs or Yonda, Marshall Yonda, who was really a really awesome guard, or Terrell Suggs, who was like an awesome outside linebacker, defensive end, and certainly part of the reason of why you were scared of the Ravens when you played that team. You know, where do you go there? I want to go T. Sizzle, I feel like.
I think they're both in.
I think they're both. Just go both.
I think they're both in.
And we give them
Suggs
6.
Was a 7-time Pro Bowler. I think we go him. I think we go him, and I
Okay.
think we go Yonda.
All right, so we go 6.
Partly because I mispronounced his name, and you shouldn't do that with a guy of that stature.
There's a guard. We don't always care about their pronunciation.
Other names: Jamal Lewis.
I know.
Yeah, a lot was with the Browns.
Marlon Humphrey is a guy that deserves to be in the combo.
Marlon Humphrey.
Right? Haloti Nada. Damn. I mean, he's another one. Just, a legend of that team and that franchise. But, yeah, he doesn't get in. Bart Scott, C.J. Mosley, Chris McAllister. I mean, Ronnie Stanley, Mark Andrews. Pete, you did a good job here. You're throwing in the right names there. I agreed.
But I think we've got
I think we got
is
it.
that, 6?
Yeah, they deserve 6.
Ogden, Yonda, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs,
Yeah.
Ed Reed, and Justin Tucker.
I like that.
Agreed.
All right, we can't. Nobody's going to hate us for that.
Moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals, who Pete has on our finalist list only 6 names. So it looks like this one will be a little easier. Geno Atkins was a member of the All-Decade team.
I don't think there's any doubt he's on there.
So he's on.
Yep. Andrew Whitworth is on, right?
Andrew Whitworth is on. I think,
I think A.J. Green and Ocho Cinco are both on,
agreed.
right?
So then it comes down to Willie Anderson or Carlos Dunlap.
I know.
Some other names out there, T.J. Hushmanzada, Vontez Burfict, Corey Dillon, Rudy Johnson. Those seem to be in the
They're real good.
very good.
There's
but
no doubt. All right, so look up Willie Anderson, right? I mean, I know he was premier tackle in football.
So 3-time All-Pro.
Right.
All in the 2000s were
Yep.
back-to-back years. So 2004 through 2006, he was as good as he's been.
Yeah.
But was probably good before then.
He was.
Maybe unrecognized.
No, right. That's when they kind of got good and they got, Kitna, Carson Palmer, and started to become relevant in the NFL. I tend to think it's going to be him over Dunlap, who was really consistently good, but never had all-pro conversation or anything like that.
Agreed.
right?
Agreed. I think it's Willie Anderson. I think Carlos Dunlap was very good.
Yes.
And it's still
Still good.
Still good.
Right.
But yeah, there's our 5. That was easy.
I think so. I think that was pretty clear cut and dry. I don't think we're missing anybody else. I mean, shout out to Corey Dillon, TJ Hushmanzada. You say Hushmanzada, I say Hushmanzada.
Yeah, I think everyone says Hushmanzada.
I know. You remember the commercial? There was a commercial where, there was a fantasy thing, and the guy, TJ Hushman's your mama.
Oh, yes.
Who's your
Yes.
Manzada? They do all that.
That's right.
And then championship.
Yeah, he had 5,700 yards in the 2000s, but A.J. Green had 9,400.
Yes.
Chad Ochocinco, 10,700.
Right.
With 66 touchdowns.
Hushmanzada, awesome football player.
was good.
Just misses out on this one, though.
Easy for the Bengals there. We move on to the Browns. We'll see if it's as easy here. We have 3 players on the Browns who are on the all-decade teams. Joe Thomas, Alex Mack, and Josh Cribbs, kick returner, punt returner.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think we put the 2 linemen in right away. Joe Thomas and Alex Mack.
I think so. There's a part of me that almost wants to say Joel Bitonio might deserve to be in there too. That's where I feel like Bitonio would be on the all-decade team if he just got drafted a year before that. Maybe that's where it's a little tough there.
I think he goes into.
I mean, he's been one of the best guards in football for. It's all right. So Pete's saying 5 Pro Bowls. How many All Pros was it, Pete? 2 All Pros.
2, but he's been second-team All-Pro the 3 years before that.
That's what I mean. We're talking about one of the best guards in football for about 7 years straight here.
He's
now.
in.
I think he's in. I think Myles Garrett's in.
I think he's in.
Right?
Yep.
He's the marquee defensive player of their franchise in the century. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I don't think I'm missing anybody in that conversation.
How about Joe Hayden?
Yeah, that's it. He definitely is. I think of him.
So 7 years with Cleveland.
Right.
2 Pro Bowls, was not first-team All-Pro, was second-team All-Pro in 2013.
Right. Really good. When I think I look at it, I feel like I want to say it's between Joe Hayden and Josh Cribbs, right?
Ooh.
Or are you talking about the kicker too?
I know you love Nick Chubb.
I do love Nick Chubb. I don't even know where to go with the Nick Chubb thing. That's a tough one. Yeah, it's 5 years. But it's like 4 to the 5 where we're going, hey, he's one of the 3-4 best running backs in the game, right?
Definitely.
Ooh, man, what's your gut there? This is a hard one for me.
Josh Cribbs was...
Yeah, he was kind of the man there for a while. He was.
It did fizzle out after. He had the great 2007 year where he led the league in kickoff returns and was pretty good for 2 years after that.
What do you think? I think the more I sit here and talk about it, the more I think Nick Chubb should be it.
So if we're going to put out of 3, Joe Hayden, Josh Cribbs, and Nick Chubb, you would go Nick Chubb? Or do you think? Or none, or 2?
I feel like I would go Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb over Joe Hayden and Josh Cribbs.
I think so. Like you said, Joe Hayden, it's 7 years. Nick Chubb, we're here at 6 years already, and it's 5 of them were like special. It's like special, like where we're going, hey, is Nick Chubb the best running back in the game? You're asking me that question like the last 3 years straight at the end of the season. So I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 5 years.
Five good years, 4 Pro Bowls for him, yes. And if you are a Browns fan and really want Joe Hayden or Josh Cribbs and you have a really good argument,
yeah, then please. We're not saying this is set in stone.
We could be convinced on this one.
Exactly right.
But those are the 5: Nick Chubb, Joe Thomas, Joel Bitonio, Alex Mack, and Myles Garrett.
Cool.
One more team, the rivals, the Steelers here. This one's going to be difficult as well.
Oh, my gosh, it is.
Because you already have 5 here on the all-decade team, so...
Yeah. And it's a team, again, where it's just like, yeah, of course they do. That's why they've been in the Super Bowl hunt and relevant for 23 years straight here this century.
Troy Polamalu in. Antonio Brown's got to be in, right?
Yes. Hines Ward has to be in.
I know. I was thinking that, too. Hines Ward does have to be in.
Has to be in.
Well,
has to.
Hold on, though. There's a lot of names. 11,000 yards for Hines Ward. You're right. And Brown had 11,000 yards, too. Now,
it's got to be.
Ward did it over more seasons,
right.
but...
Right.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. Both those wide receivers are in.
Won a Super Bowl with them. I mean, damn, caught a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, he was the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
You're right.
He embodied what they meant. So that's where I go. Okay, so as we sit here, we got 3 already. Did we just say 3?
Yeah, we have 3. Troy Polamalu, Hines Ward, Antonio Brown. So we got to get into the offensive line.
Alan Faneca's got to go in.
Faneca's in.
I mean, Faneca's like, man, Faneca should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer for my money. Yeah. I mean, that's how highly I thought of Alan Faneca. Whoa. And this is not fun here.
You got Marquise Pouncey.
Gosh. Marquise Pouncey. Casey Hampton was one of the better nose tackles of the generation. Le'Veon Bell was awesome for a few years there. James Farrior was essential to their success. Cameron Hayward, what he is. We know TJ Watt's on his way to being there. I think if I had to give 2 more names, okay, here would be my 2. James Harrison and Cam Hayward. That would be, if you wanted to go, okay, we got to make it 5. You know, what do we got right now? That would be 5. I think that would be the 5 I'd go with. Oh, that would be 6. Excuse me. So we got Brown, Ward, Faneca, Polamalu 4. Now, whether we want to go 5, to me, it's between Harrison or Cam Hayward, or we just go 6 and we give it both. Harrison was one of the top sack artists in football. He did win an NFL defensive MVP, right? There was another year where I think he was a top 2 or 3 vote getter in the NFL defensive MVP conversation. So I don't think we can not have him on this. You know, right, he's got the ultimate Super Bowl defensive play. Pete just reminded me in my ear with the interception, 99-yard return for a touchdown. Yeah. They don't win the game at the Super Bowl if he doesn't make that play.
Okay.
Right? So I think he is for sure. Now, do we want to make Cam Hayward the 6th?
Wait, so is Joey Porter in?
Well, as of right now, I'm saying no. And I know he's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
I know. This is the problem when you have a legend. When running backs are out.
Jerome Bettis, Le'Veon Bell. I mean, play for another team. I'm sorry, you're not in this.
Yeah.
yeah. You would have made the Jaguars. I'm sorry.
Right.
So we're leaving off T.J. Watt too.
I know. T.J. Watt again. If we do this 2 years from now, we're like, yeah, okay, he's on the team, right? We know that. You know, James Farrior, I can't. You know, he was awesome. Joey Porter, I know, it was awesome. But I feel like I can't say Porter. I don't feel like Porter was more important or the player Harrison was for that period of time. And I guess I kind of feel the same way with Cam Hayward.
Now, Pouncey was an all-pro in all but one of his 10 seasons with Pittsburgh.
Man, maybe we need to have 7. I mean, Pouncey was really good. Like, he was
11 seasons.
Pretty much always in the conversation for the first 7 years of his career of, you know, best center in football.
So do we have to do 7 for them? So here it is right now. Hines Ward, Antonio Brown, Faneca, Pouncey. You've got Cam Hayward. You've got James Harrison. And you got Troy Polamalu. Mm-hmm. Is that 7?
I think so.
So Harrison had 80.5 sacks. T.J. Watt, 77.5 sacks.
Ooh, wow.
Jeez, Pete. And he's got Defensive Player of the Year. Oh, if you were to go between you could make a case for T.J. Watt over James Harrison. We can't do 8. That's like a total cop-out.
It does seem like a cop-out. I don't know what to say here. It's really close.
All right, you know what?
Like T.J. Watt, his ultimate high-level play, I think is probably better than James Harrison. I get that. But damn, Harrison did it high level for a long time.
You know what I'm going to do?
What are you going to do?
They've been so good. They got so many good players. They all deserve to be on there.
Fine.
We're going 8. We're giving Steeler fans a chance to choose who they like the most.
They can figure it out. You're right. You'll let them figure it out. You're the ones that watch the Pittsburgh news all the time. You guys figure it out.
So what we'll do is we'll take it out on the next team, the Buffalo Bills. We'll give them one player just to make up for it and even out the numbers. It really does
feel like a cop-out that we just did that.
Yeah, but
I don't know what to do there.
I don't want to take one of those players off the list because I think Pouncey's not going to win, obviously, but he deserves to be in there.
He deserves to be on there.
And he's going to look at this one day and be like, whoa, Chris Simms and Ahmed did that non-quarterback's best players of the 21st century. Why is my name not on there? It is on there. We go to one final division, the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills we start with here. Okay. They had only one player who was an all-decade team member, and that was their punter.
Jeez. You would have got me on that one. I would have been like, who? Who was it? Wow.
Dang.
This is not that impressive.
I thought the Bills have been good here recently.
Wow.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it is the Josh Allen show.
I guess it's
Wait, could we have Josh Allen in here?
Fred Jackson. I think I'm comfortable with that right off the bat. I think Kyle Williams, for the sake of this, is in there too. Kyle Williams was, a staple for them for a long, long time. And, one of those guys that even when they were bad there in the mid-2000s, you were like, damn, Kyle Williams, he's a handful, right? Wow. I think Brian Moorman probably has to be in there. After looking at this list, it's a little underwhelming in that department, overall. So Fred Jackson, Kyle Williams, Brian Moorman, right? And then it's like, I don't know where to go from there.
Who would you put in between Matt Milano and Tre'Davious White?
Gosh.
If you had to pick one of those two.
I feel like I'd want to go Matt Milano, but I'm not as big a Tre'Davious White fan as everybody else is in the world.
Yeah.
Marcel Darius is the other one that, had a pretty incredible run there, right? I mean, that was 6 years. It was really good, and that's why he got paid a crap load of money to go play for the Jacksonville Jaguars, right, and leave there.
But then he didn't.
And then he didn't do anything.
He was really hurt at the end of his career.
Yeah. But we're counting the Buffalo
years.
That's
true. You're right.
So that's where Eric Moulds was really good. I think of Eric Moulds more along the lines of like late 90s being special. I know there's, some years there in 2000 and 2001 where he certainly could have been good too.
Yeah, so here are the receiving stats in the 2000s. Eric Moulds was the leader with 6,100 yards, so not many, but that was 6 seasons, so averaging over 1,000 a season. Lee Evans, 7 years, under 6,000. 5.934 K. And then Stephon Diggs, 3 years, 4,100 yards.
Like, this is where the Diggs conversation comes in, because I would just go, yeah, his stats aren't there, but Diggs is, to me, the best receiver to play for the Bills in the last 20 years. No disrespect to Eric Moulds, who was a hell of a player, but, Diggs is in that, again, like I always go back to, we view him as a top 5, top 3, top 4, whatever receiver in football. So they're special there, but only 3 years. That's where it's hard.
But they're pretty thin. So if he's going to break in on any team, it looks like it might be the Buffalo Bills.
Let me throw one more guy at you here that is just at least food for thought. Is Jordan Poyer, right?
Yeah.
Where would we see Jordan Poyer here? Because Jordan Poyer, I know he started in Cleveland, right? But he's had a good 6-year run here. And, last year wasn't his best, but the years before that were damn good. So he's a guy that I think about here. But, yeah, this is a tough one.
Jordan Poyer, 6 years in Buffalo, Pro Bowl this past year, first-team All-Pro the year before that. I'm on board with that. I'm on board with Jordan Poyer.
I
over Micah Hyde, if you were to pit him against another safety.
Micah Hyde's been there for how many years now? We talking like Micah Hyde? I feel like was a little less time.
So 6 years for Micah Hyde.
Shit. Yeah,
just one Pro Bowl, second-team All-Pro, 2 of those years though. It's close between those two.
It is close. Poyer probably been a little bit better. This is, I think, the hardest one we've had of the day.
Well, there aren't a whole lot of great options. So you like both those guys over Tre'Davious White?
I like Jordan Poyer over him for sure. I feel like I do like Micah Hyde over him as well. So Fred Jackson, Kyle Williams,
Jordan Poyer,
Matt
Milano.
Yeah, and the other one I gotta like. Is just one more. I'm sorry to be that guy. Is Aaron Schobel. I know he was a staple of what they did there for a while, and he was really damn good and kind of like the marquee guy on their team, right? I know when I started my career, and we played him, I think, in 2005, early on in the season. I mean, he was a player, right? 78 sacks for his career in Buffalo, in an 8-year career. Again, the list is underwhelming, but I feel like that might classify him as being on here. Fred Jackson, Kyle Williams. I think Aaron Schobel probably deserves to go on. I think if we're going to be fair, we probably got to put Brian Moorman on.
Yep, the punter.
Yep.
Okay. Is that and then
I think I would go Jordan Poyer.
Okay, that's the 5. All right.
Whew. Yeah,
I
is
feel
right.
bad, man. I feel like
that
my
was
Lions,
stressful.
My Lions had. So here's my bold prediction.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, a Bill is not going to win this competition. When it comes down to who is the player
The
of
player.
the 20.
I would agree with
a Bill's
that.
not. It's
I
a
would
bold
agree with
prediction,
that.
but I'm
Right.
saying it's not going to happen.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe a Dolphin will, though, because they got a couple good ones. So Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor in automatically.
100%. 100%. No doubt about that. Right?
Even though they were late 90s, but most
there were
of it
still
in the 2000s.
a lot of good years there, right? You know, in the 2000s. They both got, 6, 7 quality years in the 2000s. So I'm there for sure. Cameron Wake, 98 sacks, best pass rusher in their, franchise other than Jason Taylor. So I think he deserves to be on there too.
Cameron Wake is in.
Right? So we got those 3. I personally think Xavier Howard.
So there are 3 corners to be considered here.
I know.
Sam Madison, late 90s, early 2000s. Patrick Surtain, late 90s, early 2000s. Then Xavier Howard here recently.
Yeah. Howard's, of course, got, the advantage on them as far, well, I guess he's equal to them in years right now, right? He's got more years in the century, though, that already. Xavier Howard, he's right with these guys. These are special corners. I mean, this was a special era for Miami. When they had Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, Sam Madison, and Patrick Surtain, damn, they were good on defense. I mean, they were good. They were a handful across the board, everything there. So I feel like Xavier Howard deserves to be on there.
Okay.
Right?
I'm with you.
The amount of years he has, he's an island corner. You know how much I respect him. He's one of the few guys in football where the team just goes, you got him. We'll check in with you after the game's over and see how you did. Right?
Yes.
So I think so. So as we sit here right now, that's what we got 4.
So we got Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor, Cameron Wake, and Xavier Howard. Got a couple linemen, Jake Long and Mike Pouncey. Mike Pouncey 4 Pro Bowls. Jake Long just 5 years.
Man, I don't know what to do here. Ricky Williams is in this conversation. He was one of the league leaders in rushing when he was with the Miami Dolphins, and really awesome. He really was. I don't think Jake Long makes the cut. I don't think so. I kind of look at Pouncey to a degree. Gosh, Ricky Williams.
Ricky Williams feels like a player who should be on
It's
this
sneaky.
list.
I think, can you read Ricky Williams' stats for the listeners there? Because there's a period there where, he screwed up a little bit with his weed smoking and all that, where he got, banned from the league for a year and whatever. But he came back with the Dolphins for a period of time where it was like, oh, no, he's unstoppable.
6,400 yards with the Dolphins, 7 seasons. Yeah, retired in 2004, came back in 2005, got in trouble in 2006, came back in 2007. But yeah, his best year was his first year in Miami, 1,800 yards, averaged over 115 a game. I think he's in. He's in.
I think so.
One really good year, and then he had some other pretty good years after that.
Right. All right. The only one I'm nervous about is those other 2 corners. Madison and Surtain. It's 5 years and 6 years for them, and damn, they were really good. So that's where
So Madison led the league in interceptions, but that was 1999. For Patrick Surtain, you do have first-team All-Pro in 2002. You have second-team All-Pro in 2003. A Pro Bowler in 2004.
All right, I think we're good. I think I'm good with that. That one's gonna probably keep me up a little bit. Just going, damn, did we mess up putting Ricky Williams over those guys? But
again, a call out to Dolphins fans.
Yeah, call
Dolphins
us out.
Fans.
Yep.
They do.
You haven't been
call
afraid to call me out, so if there's a problem there,
They
just
call us out.
lay it on thick, okay?
So a well-reasoned argument.
Yes.
We will put in more players there for sure. 2 more teams to go through. The New England Patriots. Oh, God.
Yeah, this is going to be another one.
We should have done this one earlier, Pete. I'm exhausted. We did the Chiefs earlier.
No
that's
wonder
right.
they've dominated the century, literally. All right, I think we can make this actually pretty quick.
Are we going to put in 2 kickers? Vinatieri and Gostkowski?
Holy crap, you're right.
I feel like we'd only do one. So Vinatieri was
the Super Bowl guy, but Gostkowski had more.
Yes.
In a long. I mean, Vinatieri had more years with the Colts than the Patriots.
And so we put him in with the Colts already. So, yeah.
So we'll cancel him out.
Gostkowski. I think Gostkowski.
I guess. The only thing I just come with Vinatieri is he won 3 Super Bowls, and 2 of them were because of his kick, right?
Okay. We shouldn't have started with kickers.
I know. Gostkowski, though, I mean, we're going to sit here and go, well, yeah, they won some Super Bowls with Gostkowski, too. I mean, I had like the end of the game, win it type of field goal, but he certainly never let them down, and I don't doubt that he would have done that. All right, we've had enough of the kicker conversation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the ones that we know for sure.
Gronk is in.
Definitely. Richard Seymour is in. Definitely.
Logan Mankins, guard. He was on an all-decade team.
I think so. I think he is in definitely, and I think Vince Wilfork is in definitely. So that's right there, 4 in a row.
Okay.
Like definites.
Wide receivers. So you got Randy Moss, you got Wes Welker, and you got Julian Edelman.
Gosh.
So the numbers. So Gronk.
Edelman is probably the guy we got to choose.
Gronk throws them all out here, or beats them all.
Yeah.
We're getting late in the pod. 7,800 yards, 79 touchdowns. Gronk for sure in. Then you got Wes Welker, second to him, 7,400. Edelman then, after him, 6,800. So they're close.
I would not have thought Wes Welker had more yards than Edelman when all said and done.
And you know who had more touchdowns than Welker or Edelman or Deion Branch? Randy Moss. He had 50 touchdowns.
He had 23 in a year.
I mean, that year was so good.
It was good.
It was just one good year.
I know. I don't think we can do that.
And he is a Viking too. So
yeah, that's all right. So we got 4 that I feel really good about. Now, Welker and Edelman is a real conversation. Welker's stats are better, right? But, Welker is also going to be like, he dropped that pass against the Giants in the Super Bowl, right? They never won the Super Bowl. Edelman's got some moments of going, wait, that third down against the Seahawks where he got a concussion and then still kept running, and that's like a history-defining moment. And then you go, oh, wait, 2 years later, that ball that should have been intercepted by like 7 Falcons players, but then he caught the ball an inch from the ground, right? So Edelman, I think, would be the choice between him and Welker.
If we go with a wide receiver.
If we go with the receiver, because the other guy that I think goes into this conversation is Devin McCourty.
So wait,
I know.
We have not put Ty Law in, although Ty Law was late 90s.
I look at him more 90s.
Okay, so he's out.
All right. But I know it's another tough one.
So defensive secondary, you've got Stephon Gilmore, you've got Devin McCourty, and then you've got your coworker in Rodney Harrison.
Oh, they're both coworkers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
So I think we bring them in, we tell them to fight it out, and whoever wins, we put on the list.
That's right.
You guys fight it out. Duel to the death to make the Ahmed Fareed Simms all-century team.
Yeah.
Harrison's quality there was amazing. I mean, we know that. McCourty's, though, was also really, really damn good and did it for 13 years straight. That's where I guess I just give him the edge, right? I know Rodney's was awesome.
San Diego, some with Rod.
Yeah, I mean, Rodney, a lot of great years in San Diego before that.
That's true. Okay, so we're not putting in Rodney. We're putting in Devin McCourty, and we're watching you have dinner with
and explain this.
Both of them.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
Make
before
a video.
the season, and then
Are you okay with that? You think we're good there? So we have 6, right?
Yeah.
That gives us 6. We're gonna leave the kickers off. Apparently, this team's good enough to where the kickers. Sorry, you got screwed.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Wait, hold on. Another name, Teddy Bruschi.
I know. I
mean,
I know. I mean, it's legend. Him and Matthew Slater are both legends. But Bruschi is more of like a New England. He's. I don't think he's as quality as a player as some of the guys we have here.
Okay.
Right. Awesome.
Yes.
Leader embodies what they think or what Patriots are supposed to be about. But yeah, I don't think he's quite in that crew there.
All right.
We did it, right? 6 there?
Jeez, that was very... No Stephon Gilmore, yeah. No Matthew Slater.
No.
No Willie McGinnis or Mike Vrabel or Gerard Mayo or Dante Hightower.
Willie McGinnis, made me think
No
for sure.
Yeah, Willie McGinnis.
Yeah, Willie McGinnis made me think, but he had some 90s too, right? So that's where he's a little bit. That's what stinks about those guys is they're stuck a little bit in between the century there and a little into the 90s and the early 2000s. But I think we got it right here.
So 5, we're not doing Edelman. The only one.
We're not going to do Edelman?
I don't think so. I
wasn't sure.
I wasn't sure
what
Edelman.
you thought. Okay.
I don't think. Because I still feel like Ty Law, I don't know. 5 seasons, 3 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro, was the all-decade team. Should have been the Super Bowl MVP if they didn't give it to Brady. I almost think we should
put him instead.
I kind of think so.
Okay, fine. I can get behind that.
Okay.
I can get behind that.
All right. Yep, we got the final is Gronk, Mankin, Seymour, Wilfork, Ty Law, and is that it?
Devin McCourty.
And Devin McCourty, that's right.
Yeah.
All right, one more team. The New York Jets. So Kevin Mawai is in because we left him off the other team. So, yes, he is in. Darrelle Revis is in.
Yeah. Right. I think DeBrickashaw Ferguson's in.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I would say so. Damn. I think I want to say Nick Mangold probably deserves to be in. Nick Mangold was, for the better part of his time there, drafted out of Ohio State. Playing for the Jets was, that's the reason they got rid of Kevin Mawai, or that transition went so smoothly because they were like, hey, we just got rid of a Hall of Famer and now we got another guy that's, a borderline Hall of Famer. I don't think he ever gets in, but he's like a Ring of Honor Jets player at the very least.
Yeah, Nick Mangold's in.
Yeah, I think so. Schmangold, as we like to call him. All right, so yeah, there's now this is where I don't think John Abraham. We talked about him with the Falcons. He made it there.
He did make it there. Yes.
Right. He was really good. I think Sean Ellis though was probably a guy that he's on our list here that Pete put on, and I would think that I agree. He needs to be on here.
He led the Jets in sacks in the 2000s.
Yeah, he was the guy in those years where Chad Pennington was the quarterback and. Where you were like, oh, who you got to block on the Jets? It was Sean Ellis. That was the guy you had to stop. So I think that's where he classifies and certainly earns a spot there. So as of right now, that gave us 5, right?
Right. No Curtis Martin.
Oof. Yeah, I know. Curtis is it is really good. I guess he's another guy that's I think of him as in more the 90s, right? Because of what he did with the Patriots. Before that, coming to the Jets.
It's only 3 years with the Patriots.
It was only 3 years? What were his statistics like? So I know 98 Jets were good. 99 his stats were good. What were his 2000 to 2005 stats there?
Very good.
Yeah?
So he led the NFL in rushing in 2004. So
Holy shit, did he really?
Yeah. So,
holy crap.
Yeah, 371 carries there. And he was over 1,000 yards
that's why he
in each of the
died
2000
the next year.
seasons until, you're correct, in 2005 when he fell off.
He did, because that was the last hurrah. They drove him into the ground.
So he's has
on
to
the
go
10.
in.
He's
and
on
so
the
that
10.
is that 6?
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
I think it's okay too. I mean, yeah. I guess if we had to reevaluate, I'd maybe take Nick Mangold off, but
No, we'll give Jets fans 6.
All right, we'll give them 6.
They're excited.
All right, cool.
And it's the end of the pod, and that's what we do. I'm surprised we didn't just say whatever you list here, Pete, goes. But all right.
We did it.
Whew.
I thought it was going to be easier, but I don't know if it was. It was still a lot of work. There were some AFC teams that had some real nail-biters there.
Yeah, why would we do that on our last pod before the hiatus? We should have just had an easy one where no thinking involved, but...
No. Yeah. That's what you guys like to do. You guys like to grind me down to the ground. That's what you do. Okay,
yeah.
You got any work you want me to do over the summer break? Or
Absolutely, absolutely. I do.
Yeah, sure. All right, so after the show, check out our social media accounts. We'll have a link to the poll where you can vote on the best 21st century non-QB for all 32 teams. You can vote for as many or as few as you want, and then we'll release the results. We will release the results.
That's hard. Yeah.
Yes, during our hiatus, and then do a bracket. And we'll figure out who is the greatest player of the 21st century.
Do you have any guess who that's going to be? Who's going to emerge?
Ooh, wow.
I feel like my Detroit Lions have a chance with
Calvin Johnson?
I kind of feel
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I would until Ray Lewis popped into my head, and I
yeah,
think you
that's
lose
true.
on that one, right? And then there's going to be a few others that are going to go. But they're like Ray is, I got to think Ray's going to be in the Final Four. Aaron Donald's going to be in the Final Four, maybe. Right,
Randy Moss,
probably. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because this is where we're gonna see what the fans really think about quality and quantity too, and the balance there.
Yeah,
because we're gonna have some guys where we go, yeah, this guy was maybe the best of what he did, but it was for 4 years.
Aaron Donald.
I said that name.
Oh, you did say
yeah,
it? Oh, okay.
Aaron Donald is definitely. I hear you. I think those are ones that are real obvious.
Troy Polamalu, I think, could have a chance.
Yes, he could. Right. Who'd you say, Pete, in my ear? Gronk is another one. Yeah, he probably will come down to at least the final 8 or so. I could see that happening.
I hope the linemen and defensive tackles get some love, though.
Yeah, the linemen will probably get shit on like they usually do. That's what happens when you're a lineman, unfortunately. They can handle it, though. But, yeah, hopefully we can continue to shed light on them here at the Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast. Ahmed, you good? You good?
I'm
Anything
good.
else you want to say?
I'm done.
You good? Where are you going to baseball this weekend?
We're going to Chicago.
Chicago.
Wrigley Field.
Oh,
First
man.
time in the Central Time Zone.
Bucket list. I need to go to that
cool.
stadium and see that. I haven't. Yeah, who they playing?
They're playing the Orioles.
The Orioles. Okay,
Yeah,
Orioles
good
still
matchup.
good. Yeah,
They're still good.
Hey, the AL East baseball. I mean, it's just like its own league in itself. They should get extra credit for their wins.
Yeah, Red Sox would be winning the Central, I think, right now.
Right.
They're in last place.
Last in the East. Right.
About to get everyone fired.
All right. So there you have it. You know where to find Ahmed during the hiatus. He's going to be on Peacock on Sundays. All right. He'll be at baseball games. He gets a break from this, as we all do. You know, we got one more podcast coming out. You'll see it next week. We're going to do a little bit of a, bet props type of thing with our man Jake Croucher. We're gonna have some fun with him and talk a little bit about the upcoming season. But you know where to find us. Subscribe, rate, review. We'll be back in late July on a two time a week basis. And as you know, once the season starts, it becomes 3 times a week. I'm gonna be probably out on the road a little bit, training camp, visit a few QBs here and there, right? So everybody though, enjoy the break because this is one of the last times you're gonna hear us live. Ahmed, you are the man.
Thank
okay,
you, Chris.
you are.
Too.
I love working with you. Good luck and have fun over this break, and then we'll see you in a few weeks.
Come back recharged.
Come back recharged, maybe with something new to end the pod other than clap it up.
Can't get rid of it. Clap it up.
Yo, thanks for watching, homies. It's the off season, but you know there's no off season for us here at Unbuttoned. Me, Ahmed Fareed, we're going to hit all the stories. So hit subscribe for us, okay? We got a ton coming up. My draft prospect rankings, my Simms top 40 quarterback countdown, and videos of me and NFL QBs playing catch and talking about their development and mechanics. Again, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out, homies. See you soon.